2 years ago, I did an exchange in Seoul at Yonsei University. It was just a summer program. It was super fun. I loved getting to meet people from all over the world. And while I was there, I noticed one quirk that many of other people have observed. But it was when asking people where they're from, everyone would say what country they're from, except for Americans, who 99% of the time would tell me what state or what city they're from. And I thought that was really interesting. Most other people, even if they were from a major city like London or Paris or Beijing, they would tell me their country that they're from. And I think that really speaks to how Americans think. People know a lot about their geography outside of the US. And moreover, how they think they are so special for having regional differences, as if other places in the world do not. This thought was also prompted by me scrolling on Reels, because that's all I do with my day once I get home from work. It's great. Would not recommend get outside and do something else. But I keep thinking about it. I keep critically thinking about the content I consume. And I saw a video of someone who was sitting in an airport, and she was like, differentiating the US state by state is really important when compared to other countries where you can just go country to country differences, especially when talking about the context of Europe versus the United States. And I thought that was really strange because I hate to break it to you, the US is not the only place that has regional differences. For example, I'm from Alberta. I'm proudly from Edmonton, Alberta. We have a very known rival city 3 hours down south, Calgary, and we are the two most major cities in the province. A lot of people would lump us together because we are both from Alberta. Guess what? Our cities still have a lot of differences because of our unique geographies, our placement, our unique histories, the people who live there, who create culture there, also the industries that are there. These are two cities, same province of only about 3 million people, and yet these two hubs have distinct cultures within them. And I don't think an American would consider that significant. Meanwhile, they'd be like, go from LA to San Francisco, and those are completely different, and so I have to tell you where I'm from. Not to mention, if you go from California to Florida, those are so different. You don't think the difference from someone who lives in Victoria, BC is not completely different from someone who lives in St. John's, Newfoundland? They're gonna be different people because of all the different factors I just listed that contribute to them being different. Same thing goes for places in Europe. You think someone from Bristol is going to be the same as someone from London, as the same as someone from Manchester? We've all heard the different accents in England. We know those are different places with distinct cultures. And yeah, Americans will typically say stuff that Europeans will laugh at, like, I'm going to Europe. Europeans will obviously be like, okay, but where in Europe? Because they know the places across Europe are going to be very diverse regionally. But usually what Americans or North Americans, I'm a Canadian, I'm guilty of saying this too, when they say they're going to Europe, it means that they're probably going to go to multiple countries. And yeah, maybe they should specify they're going to West Europe, they're going to Northern Europe, they're going around the Mediterranean. Maybe that would be more helpful, but I think it's a cultural misunderstanding between North America and Europe, where when someone says they're going to Europe, it means they're heading up multiple countries, usually. Not always. Some people just say the continent is a blanket term, but that's usually what they're actually saying. Otherwise, they would specify, I'm going to England, I'm going to Italy, I'm going to Poland. They would probably specify otherwise. There's also one thing that's really missing in American discourse when they talk about this state by state is more significant than country by country variation. What do you as an American, if you're watching this, or even as a non-American, know about regional differences either in India or in China? Those countries are massive geographically, and they have like more than three times the population of the United States each. What do you know about the different regions of India or China? I'll be the first to say, I don't really know any differences about the different regions of India. I don't really know much about that. Therefore, I'm not going to pretend like I do or do not know if there are rich regional differences between northern and southern and eastern and western India. But I'm willing to bet they are very different depending on where you go. You know, what I can speak a little bit on, this white person can get a little Chinese with it because I studied it for many years. I can speak a little bit about China with confidence. And I know for a fact, most people are not going to know the difference between North and South China. They're not going to know any regional differences between there. They're not going to know that western part of China is mostly desert, therefore mostly uninhabited, and most people live on the eastern coast of China. Most people don't know that Northerners are going to be stereotyped as being very tall, while Southern Chinese are going to be stereotyped as quite short. They're not going to know where in the country is going to have spicy food, like very spicy food. Most Americans aren't going to know that. They don't care to know. Pop quiz time. Who steals manhole covers? If you answered Henan province, congrats. You were correct. It is Henan province. There is a reason why they're stereotyped as that. Is it accurate? Is it not? But that's like a regional difference, a regional stereotype that exists within China that I guarantee you 99.9999% of Americans won't know because they don't care about the regional differences that exist outside of their own country. I think it is important within your own country to celebrate what makes you you, to celebrate what your unique city, your unique town has to offer. That's beautiful. That's wonderful. You should take pride in where you live. You also need to understand, most people across the globe don't care. Quite frankly, do not care. As an outsider, I can still see the overarching culture within the United States, even as someone who comes from a culture very similar to the United States. I still know what makes that place distinct as one nation under God. And I think Americans also fail to realize that, for better or worse, much like High School Musical, they are all in this together. Most people across the globe are just looking at what happens at a federal level and assuming that's a blanket thing across the United States. Most people don't care about how the state system works and how they all govern themselves and this, that, and the third. They just care. The United States, they're occupying my country? That's not cool. I think Americans need to know that people just don't care. You're not the center of the world, despite the fact that you make your maps dead center on. America is, in fact, the global powerhouse. For now. But to an extent, we don't care. We care about the hard power that the country carries. We care about when you're placing tariffs on every single person. We don't care where the jam capital is of the nation. Most non-Americans don't care about whether you're from Denver or from Los Angeles, because most people don't know the difference. Take pride in where you're from, but also know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to the continent of Europe.